Good day, everyone. My name is Brenda Montalvo, and this is my presentation for Assignment 1 regarding the 8 key features of e-commerce technology based on 3 websites. For this presentation, I will be covering the e-commerce sites of Fiverr, Etsy, and iBuyDirect. Prior to the analysis on each of the platforms, I will do a brief explanation about e-commerce and the dimensions of e-commerce technologies to understand their importance and the link with the content we will see moving forward. So I will start with what is e-commerce? E-commerce refers to commercial transactions that are digitally enabled through the use of the web, the internet, and mobile browsers. Through the evolution of technology, the development of e-commerce features has allowed the improvement of the transactional experience between sellers and buyers. So, according to Lawton and Traver, e-commerce technologies have allowed sellers to know more about the customers and how to approach them and how to interact with them, overall improving the quality of their services. So these 8 features represent new possibilities for e-commerce platforms on how they communicate the brands and how they interact with their audience effectively. So during the rest of the presentation, I will go over the 8 features that we see here: ubiquity, global reach, richness, universal standards, interactivity, information density, personalization and customization, and finally, social technology, and explain how these concepts are aligned to each of the platforms selected and their content. So now, going forward to each of them, I will start with a brief introduction of the brands we will see in the following slides. Fiverr is an Israeli e-commerce site, considered the largest marketplace of digital services. The website lists different one-off jobs, or as they call in the site, gigs, from a wide variety of fields. And in the platform, freelancers such as programmers, designers, and translators, and others offer a diverse range of services through different priced packages. iBuyDirect is an online retailer of prescription glasses and sunglasses. It offers glasses from well-known brands, and they also have their own brand of glasses called also iBuyDirect. And the site is known for their low prices and availability of worldwide shipping, which is usually difficult to manage with prescriptions. And finally, we have Etsy, which is an online sales site focused on handcrafted and vintage items. The website shows different categories of products, from vintage pieces of clothing to home decor that is also handcrafted. So now I will start with the explanation of the concepts and see the link with the sites. We'll start with ubiquity. Ubiquity basically refers to the site's availability at any time and everywhere. For Fiverr, this means that they have accessible information through different devices. It's available for desktop, and it's also available for mobile browsers and apps. Moreover, the information on each of the offers is accessible at any time, and even shows the average response of every seller, ensuring that the user has additional details on the services that can be accessible in a timely manner. So overall, they have different accessibility through a variety of devices, and also have accessible information at 24/7. And similarly, that's the same case with iBuyDirect. They have a desktop version, and they also have a phone browser version. However, they do not have a mobile app as of yet. Moreover, the information on each of the offers is accessible at any time, and even shows an average, different categories of the models, showing no time restrictions of attention. And they even have a 24/7 customer support services, allowing the customer to access all services at any point. And finally, Etsy, along with the other brands, it also offers accessibility to the site 24/7, along with customer service at all times. And like Fiverr, they also have a desktop version, a mobile browser version, and they also have apps for mobile devices and also tablets. Now, moving along to global reach. This feature refers to the platform's worldwide accessibility, meaning that the e-commerce site can transcend local and regional barriers. For Fiverr, this means that since this is a site that offers digital services, it can also be accessible worldwide, regardless of regional boundaries. For example, instead of having to go to a local agency to develop a logo, a small business owner could also contact a freelancer through Fiverr and select the most affordable price without having the limitations of actually having to go to a local agency in the region at any specific time. So moreover, Fiverr's website allows you to change your location and language in order to navigate the site more comfortably, depending on where the customer is located. So it does offer a version here where you can change your language as well as your country of locations. For iBuyDirect, and on the contrary of Fiverr, they could have an issue in terms of global reach, because instead of actually delivering a service online or digital services, they have to work with a tangible product. In this case, is prescription glasses. But nevertheless, through their channels, they do promote worldwide shipping on any of the models available on the store, giving customers the possibility of adding their prescription measurements without during the product selection process. Still, as of now, the company only has an English French versions, which could represent a variance, since they are offering a wide variety of worldwide shipping, while not having the access to all the users who may want to make a purchase through the platform. And finally, for Etsy also shows options for you to select your current location as well as the language available in your site, giving more accessibility to the users from different parts of the world to be part of Etsy's community. So it's pretty similar to Fiverr, who also has this alternative, but Etsy does have a wide variety of languages and countries that Fiverr doesn't necessarily show in their site. Now, in universal standards, these refer to the standards shared by nations, which also have lower market entry costs. So how we can see this reflected in the sites is in the way they are presented in the platforms. They all show pretty much a similar structure, in which you have a header with information about what you could potentially purchase through the site, and they also have information on the products listed, including the product price. And overall, what these websites show is that through this structure, or through this standard structure, they increase price transparency, meaning that the customers can now easily access the information on the site, see the prices that they weren't able to see before, when they couldn't access, when they were actually going through traditional channels of purchase. But overall, what having universal standards means is that it helps the products follow a more conventional format that allows consumers to understand the navigations of the site more easily, and breaking physical barriers. So now, in terms of richness, richness refers to the complexity of the message sent to the users with the use of visual aids, audio and text, which helps the merchant sell complex goods and services without requiring the customers to go to physical locations. So in terms of richness, Fiverr has the challenge of having to show a complex message, considering that the site offers intangible assets, the digital services. But however, despite the fact that these types of services can be difficult to be graphically represented, as they are not tangible items, the company does make a great effort to showing videos, images, and audios to express their content, the content of their work. For example, for a voiceover actor that is selling the service of voiceover for commercials, they can show the portfolio to the customer, so that they can potentially see how would the final result be if they were to purchase this service. So we can see here an example.
You got there. Ooh, a new credit card offer, huh? Gosh, that's a lot of paper. No, I don't know what that number means either.
So this is one of the examples. They show the portfolio, show the content of their previous work, so that the user will have a better understanding of the representation of what they can get after getting in contact with the provider and soliciting a service. So for iBuyDirect, they also show detailed information of the frames we offer, as we see here, including lens recommendation and descriptions. They also show several images of the glasses, including pictures of the models wearing them, like we can see here. And most importantly, they have a product section that is called Try Me On, which is a button which allows the users to see the glasses on them using the camera or pictures. And overall, they do use very complex messages through their platform and very compelling content. And the features used here are very user-friendly as well. It's not very hard to use this Try Me On feature, for example. It's very easy to use and has all the information needed for the customer to understand how to do variations in the product they want. And similarly to iBuyDirect, Etsy also shows several images of the products and each of the models. Some sellers will even upload videos to show the quality of the product in more detail. But previous buyers can also share their pictures, helping others to have a better reference of the products they offer. However, this material is not as interactive as in the case of iBuyDirect with the Try Me On function. Most of the content it seems more static. They rely more on this type of pictures, and still each of the items does have pictures that show the variations for one product. So it's not showing one model, but they do show the different variations of the same product. Now going over to interactivity. Interactivity involves enabling a two-way communication between buyers and sellers. The use of interaction also reflects changes in technology and Web 2.0, allowing the customers to actually respond to creators, for example, giving feedbacks or recommendations to the seller. For Fiverr, this is reflected on the features shown in the platform. They allow the customers to favorite their products, and they also give them a chance to give feedback on a provided service, along with an image of the service that was provided. And in that section, the seller also can keep interactive with the buyers and respond to their comments. And in addition to that, they also have the option of connecting with the seller, having specific questions about the service they want prior to actually purchasing the product. Now for iBuyDirect, and they also allow you to favorite the products and rate them. You can also add your comments and your feedback on what the product experience was for them. And one additional feature that they have is that other potential users can also interact with those comments and see if they were helpful or not. They also have a 24/7 live chat and hotline. And from what I've seen through the site, the information is given here can be very fastly accessed. And it really ensures the interactivity between the brand and the customers more directly. And finally, for Etsy, Etsy shows the same features mentioned with Fiverr and iBuyDirect. Additionally, it does have a feature of live chat. Of a live chat also with the sellers, not directly with the company of Etsy, but it does allow the customers to directly contact the sellers that are offering different products. So although they, in terms of having to contact Etsy, they don't have 24/7 access, although they do have a frequently asked questions section. The facility that Etsy gives to the customers is that they can actually interact with those sellers directly, improving the time in which they are purchasing the product. And now for moving along to information density, as Loron and Trevor mentioned, information density refers to the amount of quality information available to participants. With e-commerce technologies, the timeliness and accuracy of information is increased, and therefore the cost associated with price discovery decreased because of it. So looking at Fiverr's case, this has been greatly adopted by the company. Traditional businesses offering digital services, for example, a company or an agency that offers a brand image development service, they don't usually show specific prices for potential customers. On the contrary, they prefer to actually meet with them first, then send them a quote after the fact. So by using the Fiverr's platform, the quality of information here is pretty high. Not only giving access to the customer to price information, but also receiving details on how the different packages here work. For example, we can see here 3 levels of pricing and the different features that the service would have depending on the package that they would to select, showing and this reflects better price transparency. And moreover, a description on the seller's background and experience is also added, allowing the customers to feel that this quality content or quality information gives more trust to them and towards the whole process. Then we have iBuyDirect. In the case of iBuyDirect, the store does show summarized and organized information throughout the site. Considering that in a physical setting, summarized information may be difficult to be shown to the customer in terms of stores that offer glasses, the platform does bring a high level of convenience due to the quality of the information. However, one issue that I saw in this case is that price transparency may not be as clear as in the other sites. Although the platform shows the prices for all the items, it's only after you have selected the purchasing button that you can actually see what's the total price of the product you are going to buy. For example, here you start at 35, but after clicking on the purchase button, you will have to add additional features mandatorily, and you will get an even higher price. So that may be an issue in terms of when is the customer actually being able to access information. And finally, for Etsy, all product information can be easily accessible. Aside from showing details on the product based on the images, such as in the example we saw when explaining the concept of regions, users can also find information on prices more easily rather than having to go to the actual store and ask for the price. Also, while in the product page, they can see additional features depending on the product. For example, we can see here differences in colors and sizes. And again, this is something that can be reflected in the cases mentioned before, and mainly with Fiverr, who also can help you customize information. Moving along to personalization and customization. Personalization allows sellers to use target marketing to contact users through personalized messages. Some examples of this include, for example, recommendations within the site. And on the other hand, we have customization, which refers to making changes to a product based on customer preference. For Fiverr, being a service, Fiverr has a greater chance to offer personalized responses. As I mentioned before, they have a contact seller button that allows them to go thoroughly and explain the requirements. And therefore, there's a chance of having very personalized and specific messages through the interaction. And also in terms of customization, the responses also are pretty much very customized depending on the interaction with the freelancers. Since Fiverr is a market space for digital services, and these types of outputs don't really follow a standard, so there is a high level of customization going from customer to customer in the overall experience, because the production process will always be different depending on the needs. And because of that, it's very difficult to show directly on the site how the product can be customized. But even though, graphically speaking, it cannot be represented, Fiverr does make sure that they show a customization alternative, or at least opportunity, by having a request a quote feature in the product section, in which the customers can actually express how they want the product to be in terms of the final result, so that they have a better personalized information for their experience and the item that they are aiming for. For iBuyDirect, iBuyDirect also shows recommendations to customers. They are not only directly mentioned in the site during the navigation, but iBuyDirect also tracks your previous views and sends personalized messages through emails and social media. For example, this is through mailing, and overall they track your information, see what you previously you previously saw on the site, and keep making recommendations based on that. And in terms of customization, the product also shows alternatives of colors and lenses, as we can see here. So it does allow the customer to customize the product in terms of colors and sizes, and this section of customization is also including the fact that they can also make overall a customized product based on the prescription that the user has. And one additional feature that the customization characteristic that we see here is the use of the Try Me On feature that we saw before. Now, for Etsy, in terms of personalization, they work in a similar way to iBuyDirect and Fiverr, showing a recommendation section in the user homepage, as well as your recently viewed items. And as well as with iBuyDirect, they also track your navigation through the site and make recommendations on social media for you to go ahead and see, go back to the page and finalize your purchase. And regarding customization, most of the items offer customization options for the products they offer. And since most of the item selections are handcrafted products, most times the sellers will add additional features such as size and colors to be added to the product. For example, we see here the example of a rack that has the potential alternatives of changing the size and changing the color. In terms of social technology allows e-commerce platforms to incorporate more social elements to their interaction with customers. Inviting customers to generate their own content facilitates the creation of a worldwide community, which can eventually be more beneficial for the companies in terms of brand loyalty and recommendation, word of mouth. So Fiverr manages several social media channels, including Facebook, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest, in which the audience shows posts and comments under publications. Also, people have used the site regularly to post their experience on YouTube to share with others. But overall, what the platform shows is that not only can you access the different platforms through the website, but they also recommend you to share the product once you're in the product page, so you can share with others in your different media outlets, so you can share with your friends or acquaintances your experience with Fiverr. iBuy Direct, I could say that in contrast to Fiverr, it's a bit more visual. They also share their sites, their social media sites on the website and platforms. And they can also they also invite the customers to share their opinion. They have a more clear call to action and try to engage the customers in creating their own content. So, for example, in iBuy Direct's website, the customers have the possibility of, or are invited by the company to use hashtags and share their experiences with the glasses. So it's a lot more interactive in terms of how they use their social media outlets, and try to be more visual in terms of what the customers generate through their content. Finally, Etsy, that the same thing could be said about this platform. They also have several social media channels in which they are very active and in which the audience can create their content. And mainly the customers tend to, as we can see here, tend to use their profiles to share what they have purchased in Etsy. Overall, iBuy Direct and Etsy try to bring a more visual aid in terms of their social media usage, and try to rely on customer-generated content so that potential customers can also see visually how what's the experience of the previous consumers. But besides that, I would believe that iBuy Direct has a more direct approach in terms of interacting with the customers through their social media. So not only showing the social media platforms that we see here that they can share with the customers, but also regularly inviting them to post their images and use hashtags. So it's more of an inviting and or direct call to action in this case. So now I wanted to mention a brief summary of the 8 key features on each of the sites and what are the potential improvements or strengths that each company has. Fiverr has an offering that may not be frequently seen in e-commerce platforms, which is digital services. Still, with this type of offering, they have managed to show a high quality on their content, facilitate navigation through the use of video and image, as well as audio, as we saw in this case before, and the ease of interaction with their public. So they have a lot of features that allow a lot more interaction. One thing that could be worked on in terms of global reach is to add additional languages which are not currently supported in the website, in order for clients to be able to coordinate services that are needed necessarily in specific languages. For example, in both trying to connect more easily with voiceover actors that for a commercial that is needed in Spanish or any other language. For iBuy Direct, the use of material was one of the most compelling elements of the website, which can be very attractive for customers, especially when dealing with this type of product, which relies more on aesthetic features. Having the use of video and the power to customize the items while seeing them live is also an added bonus. Also, the use of social media for recommendation is very frequent, and user-generated content is also constantly reinforced by the brand through their site, having the potential of creating more interest for the public and potential consumers. However, I found mainly 2 issues that the company could improve on. Alternative language versions, as we saw in the previous slides, they only have English and French now, although they have worldwide shipping. So adding additional languages could be helpful for them to increase accessibility and even increase profitability. And also in terms of transparency, they could add some additional features for increasing transparency of their prices. As I mentioned earlier, the website shows prices in the initial product page, but does not show any additional changes until the user has already clicked on the purchase button, giving more access to the customers to the variations in prices prior to the actual purchasing process could be more accurate in terms of price transparency. And finally, for Etsy, I believe that they were the ones that used the most standard format for the platform. They effectively used video and images to show their products and allow customization options. The information was also very detailed, and they even had several language versions. However, one thing that could be added is, in terms of richness, they could use a similar strategy that was applied by Direct, since Etsy also has to rely on more aesthetic functions for offering the products since they are handcrafted. Having the capability of showing the customized product or video and images could be an added plus for the company. Currently, the product pages show the alternatives to personalize the items that are dependent on the customer's requirement, but doesn't really allow the users to see how the personalized product could look like as a final result. But overall, the experience and the analysis of the 8 key features of e-commerce technologies has allowed me to understand how it can make an e-commerce be more effective. Additionally, the evaluations of the websites has been useful to recognize how these characteristics can be beneficial for the customers, but also the actual businesses, who can greatly increase profitability and customer loyalty through the effective performance of their e-commerce platforms. As we have seen in the previous years, and especially throughout the pandemic, e-commerce, I believe, is a platform or technology that will keep evolving, and it could drastically change how companies advertise their products in the following years. So it will be very interesting to see how in the following years e-commerce platforms will keep evolving and keep adding features or evolving in terms of features to see how they can actually better the customer experience from what we currently see here. As we saw in the 3 sites, although they offer very different products, they have all added very personalized and very compelling alternatives on how to approach and bring more information to the customers without them having to rely more on the physicality of transactions. So it's something to consider when talking about e-commerce technologies and their evolution. So that will be the end of the presentation. These are my references, and thank you very much for listening to the presentation. Goodbye.